Guess who's back? Back again. Cool guy's back. Tell your friends. Hello and welcome to I Hate Card Games. My name is Levi Thomas. I hate card games. So we're back with modern MTGO. Today's deck requires a little bit of backstory. So about a week ago, I was contacted directly on Reddit by a throwaway account called Jobs, followed by a string of numbers. Well, I thought that this was simply one of Steve Jobs' many bot accounts on Reddit. It turns out it was actually the infamous Séance guy who offered me $100 in exchange for making a video about a deck that revolves around Séance. I was offended that he thought I would contradict my artistic values for a mere $100, which is why we're playing 4 copies of it today. I tried a bunch of different configurations involving Séance, Mardu allies with Séance, green-white aggro constellation with Séance. As it turns out, there were pretty much only 2 decks that were even remotely competitive. One was Abzan value Séance with like Siege Rhinos and Eternal Witness, and the other one was this Gifts Séance, which is what we're playing today. So normally in your gift stack you have your win cons in Iona and Elish Norn, and then usually the rest of the deck is a bunch of different packages, counter magic, like a normal control shell. The problem with gifts is that Elish Norn and Iona, while hosing many different decks, struggle against certain decks, for example Eldrazi. So what I've done with Séance is added a just win button. Basically, the combo here is gifts into Séance, and you use your gifts to find Leveler and Lab Maniac. And then when you Séance, on their turn, Séance in your Leveler, get rid of your deck, and then on your turn you Séance in your Lab Maniac. The good thing about this combo on MTGO is that if they don't have a stop set on your upkeep, you'll just win after the Séance trigger goes off. In addition to that, I made the gift shell a little more Séance friendly. We're running 2 copies of Mole Drifter, Wall of Omens, and Snapcaster Mage. We get double value off of all those cards. The land base is pretty basic. The only difference is that we're running 4 copies of Shelldock Isle. Our sideboard involves Stony Silence for most Graveyard Hate and Affinity matchups, this Wrath of God package, which is useful in most creature matchups, including Eldrazi, and pretty much everything else you can get the gist of. So best case scenario, we win on turn 5 and everybody goes out and buys 4 copies of Séance. Worst case scenario, I made $100, so things are going alright. So it looks like we're playing against Goblins. Goblins seems like the perfect type of deck for anybody who likes the color red or the number 1. This is going to be one of those situations where Gifts for Elish Norn actually does the trick. Alright, that should do it. And there we go. So here's the most important sideboard tech in this matchup. Take out all 4 copies of Séance. It's a fucking hurricane outside right now.
Good God Almighty, it's a pile driver!
Oh god, I'm so fucking lonely. Speaking of the new Serum Visions that I'm running, I want to thank whoever used my email address backdoor dickkarate69 to reply to some Craigslist ad for hot steamy semen visions. That was a nice set of emails that I got from that fine group of people. Yeah, so we're gonna get murdered in this game. We're gonna get murdered similarly to how Ted Cruz murdered all those people in the late 60s and early 70s in the Bay Area. I was considering actually doing maybe like a booster box opening if I got enough money to buy a booster box, or maybe just a smaller goal of like doing a draft on here. I don't know what you guys want. So I was thinking about this earlier in philosophy class, that if you think about the idea of the US court system, or any court system for that matter, but then you replace everybody in the court system with monkeys, it's a really funny idea. You got like a bunch of monkeys in suits that are like yelling at each other because like one monkey killed another monkey or maybe crashed a car into the other monkey's house. And then you got a monkey in like a powdered wig up front and he's like banging a hammer on a noisy plate to get everybody's attention. Meanwhile, you have like a group of bored monkeys just watching the whole thing take place and they can't do anything about it. They're only there for the free lunch. And probably because they're judgmental monkeys. And we did it. Again, with no thanks to Séance, Gifts Ungiven pretty much just won this matchup. Again, these openers are just pitiful for a 24 land deck. How are we not finding any sort of openers with lands? One thing that may be useful in this deck is some sort of discard engine, like Ideas Unbound, maybe Jace, some sort of looter. Because hands like these happen more often than I'd like them to. Actually, I'm just going to play this Lab Maniac, because why the fuck not? If now we're playing against some sort of graveyard deck. What is he fiddling with over here? He's just been adding mana and reducing mana from his mana pool over and over again. He's oh, okay. I see how that works. Now he's got no cards in hand. He's going to play this Leveler, and hopefully that wins. Our opponent is enjoying how our deck works. He's a fan of janky nonsense, it appears. Oh, he dredged a Lightning Axe. That's incredibly unlucky. It was the top card of his deck. Alright, we did it. I actually like to find Séance to make this game go a bit quicker, so can't believe I used the words Séance and quicker in the same sentence. And we did it. Alright, so we're back with the deck. I have to say it did pretty well, despite all of Séance's attempts to make us lose. In my total experience with this build of the deck, Gifts into Séance has won me the game maybe 3 times. Most of the wins come from the Unburial Rights packages, whereas if I were playing, let's say, Twin, I would expect that combo to win me the game the majority of the time, maybe 80%. My final verdict on the card Séance, it's janky, but not in the good way. It's more janky in the way that you wish it would do what it's supposed to do, but more often than not it fails in doing that thing. I found myself boarding them out very often, usually for the Wrath package. I surprisingly didn't run into any Eldrazi decks, although I would suspect that the Lab Maniac Leveler Séance package might actually be good against those decks. But at its core, this is a control toolbox deck. It did what control toolbox decks are supposed to do, which is win against fringe opponents. I was just thinking, actually, now that the next set has Shadows over Innistrad, wouldn't it be funny if they reprinted Séance, and after all the Séance guy did to get the number of paper copies of Séance down a whole bunch, if they just reprinted it in the new set and it's still worthless? Anyways, thanks to the Séance guy for a quick hundo, and thanks for watching. I hate card games.